the chicken cacciatore. I'm saying that because I saw that you do kitchen cacciatore. Tomorrow is the kitchen cacciatore. I don't really like it. I'd rather take 2 chicken shrimp fries today. Great. That increase their food autonomy. They make their own food decisions. Works very well, very, very well for us. If they want to go on vacation and things like that, they can do it according to the menu they've received. For us, it also allows us throughout the whole year to be able to plan for the crops we need, the crops we want to grow, and the growing season. Now thinking about that, we do put a lot of energy and work into the menus. Food needs to look extremely good. It has to be appealing. That's one of the main factors of food security. We do accommodate 100% of the food restrictions. So that might sound crazy, but it means that on 120 meals, we're going to have 60 meals that are going to be based on the food restrictions of people. I think here, what I've seen this morning and the whole morning is like, you are doing Meals on Wheels at a much bigger scale than we are doing. Like, our work is to build local communities that are very resilient. Our work is to build food sovereignty for a small, whereas your work is to feed people on a big scale, and you're making sure that as many people are being fed as possible, which is very different from our work. So in terms of like, we want to have a local community that is very resilient, and that includes being very flexible on a preference, like cultural preferences for the food, or obviously all the allergies and things like that. That's on the veggies and the. Is there questions on the menu design? 35. Well, I don't know what you think, but I have a pretty strong opinion that 35 recipes is pretty high. Like when the cooks, so we have like 4 kitchen co-managers that come to me every year, and they're like, "We're gonna have 35 recipes on rotation." I think to myself, well, when I'm home, I don't know how many recipes you have on rotation. I have like 10 maybe.
Yeah.
It's always the rotation between like the quinoa and the things like that, always. And the Meals on Wheels clients, they have 35 recipes on rotation, so I feel like that's a good standard. I think.
Well, we have a 5-week rotating menu and 2 main choices a day. But some of those repeat, so like we would have a roast beef.
So that's 20 about, no.
Well, how many?
50. Wow.
Because it's 2 each day, 25 times 5.
It's not exactly 50
because some of them get repeated.
It's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
I have
Wow.
probably about 8.
Congratulations, that's fantastic. Imagine like people have the privilege to changing food every single day, something different. That's amazing.
When do they order?
So some people are on, how do you call it, rolling, if I may, and some people are episodic, so they will call. Pretty much, that's what they do. So I've seen that you have a form that you collect back when people we do spend a lot of time on the phone. Our experience is that a lot of people, they actually call a little bit for the order, but a lot for the conversation. Like you've heard that before, and we've decided that it was totally fine, and that's something we wanted to accommodate. Maybe something that is very important to me, and I'll see if I see interest on your eyes during that section of the presentation. But everything we do at Santropol Roulant, we do it open source, which means that when we develop a new tool, when we develop the new backpack, we share that with everyone around the world as much as possible. So our database is copyright free. It's in English, so it can be shared everywhere. But you can find it on GitHub for those of you who are familiar with that. You download it from the internet, and then you have a way to know it draws the route. So for example, something we have is that volunteers deliver with the map of the route. So that's because of a pretty strong software that does that, and it's connected to Google Maps and things like that. And also for the food restrictions, because we accommodate half of the food restrictions, and that's 60 people that are going to have something very customized. The software does most of the job. To kind of do everything, like we need to have really strong cooks that are going to pick the right recipe and pick the right sauce to make it appealing. But the example I gave, I think, at the conference was the farm hack. When one of the farmers came to me, Samuel, you saw a picture of Samuel. So those are the backpacks that we developed. We developed them with a company that does backpacks to go in the Himalayas. So we had to customize, and obviously you'll see they're very made for example, they were square. But do you have an idea of why we made it a little bit like this and not like a cube? Nope. Nope. That's good. That's good. I've never heard that. No.
I think that's what I would have said. Yeah.
Aerodynamic.
Yeah.
No.
Makes you quicker on the bike.
No, that's close.
So you can see.
Yes. So it's for when you're biking. If when you look back, if you have you had to show the angle.
David would have known that answer.
So
Yeah.
1
David's
point.
not here.
But you do.
So you can have.
I didn't.
So you can see the reflection of the things, etc. So they were very much custom made, and they're great for quality control of the temperature and things like that. They're fantastic, and so other organizations using skidoos actually in Canada use them now.
Are
How many
they
can you fit in?
Oh.
Sorry.
Go
14.
14 members.
Yes.
Okay,
just the
sure.
main, just what we'd call the mains?
No,
Just,
so you have the men that go up until here, and then you have the side dishes. We don't do soup,
mm-hmm,
but we do. There's 6 different desserts,
mm-hmm.
and green salad, so that goes up.
Mhm. You do salad. We
Yeah.
talked about that.
So the dessert, there's not 6 desserts on rotation. On rotation, we have about 40 desserts, but there's 6 options every day. So that's what I meant.
6 options.
Yeah.
Ah.
So the example of, back to Samuel, the example of the farm hack, because I think it speaks very well to the way we see us growing the movement, came to me, I think I showed it at the conference, so I'm going to be quick on that. Came to me one day being like, Pierre, you've approved the budget with $5,000 for a root washer. So the root washer is that big washing machine that allows you to remove the earth and the dirt from the root veggies so that they're clean and ready to be sold or ready to be used. And he was like, we put $5,000. I can't find any in Canada, so I need to go in the US. If you go in the US, you have to pay the custom duties, exchange rate, the freight for carrying it from there to here. Yeah, Canadian dollar was pretty low compared to American dollar, so altogether it would cost us 4 times the price. And I was like, $20,000, it's not a small difference. Even on a $2 million budget, like $15,000 isn't a small difference. It's a big difference. And he's a fantastic staff. And he came to me with the solution, with an idea. He was like, how about we were to buy all the materials to raw from different suppliers, and then we get together with 10, 12 other farms, and we download from the internet all the patterns and all the plans to be able to build the machines together, and we do it. And so we had a bit of a logistical issue that we solved actually extremely fast in a couple of weeks, because we found one of the university in Montreal who provided us with all the tools that we needed, and we got with 12 farms together for a whole very long weekend, started very early on Saturday, ended up very late on Sunday. But during the whole weekend, we built 12 root washers, 1 for each of the farms. So what's the value in this?
Mm.
The value in this is like, it cost us per unit, I think, less than $4,000. So we had $5,000. So we went from 5 to 20, back to less than 4. So building it was very less expensive. I don't put in there the labor costs. But labor costs was like two of my staff. And so that was good. Then we had 12 farms that had the know-how now on how to build a very important farming tool. And then we empowered more small-scale organic farms. And see, when a little bit earlier today, I was talking about the young farmers that went through the Roulant and started their own farm afterwards. They don't necessarily have the financial capacity to have all the assets that are necessary for them to do their work. So that way of sharing the model is a good way of like slow growth. I have one of my friends who actually is a major financial partner of the Roulant, who calls that social funding. No, it doesn't call that social funding. Call that slow funding. Slow funding. Maybe I'm going to transition to the question soon. What's next to Santropol Roulant? There are changes in the demographics. We do work with young people, but I can tell that the baby boomers are coming on the volunteer market hard. It's a great opportunities for you. It's a great opportunities for us too. The way they collaborate and the way they work is a little bit different from the way young people work. Also in Montreal, we're in a situation where we have full employment. There's the employment rate is like super close to 100%, which means like, you know, when was talking about people that are in period of transition, so we're losing two kinds of people that are in period of transition. Those that are out of school, go straight to work now, and the people that have lost their work because they can find a job right away now. So those two great pools of volunteering, they're gone. That's extremely recent. It's because Montreal is doing very well financially, and you know there's all those corporations coming, and the economical situation is great. Well, too bad for us, sort of. It comes with pros also. You know, when I work, like individual donors give more when the financial situation of a city is better. Engagement of corporation is something I feel extremely passionate about. That I could talk about that for hours if you'd like. Is something that improves when also a financial situation of an organization is better. So that's one of the things that are next for us. You know, there was a question this morning about extending the services. So there is still in Montreal Meals on Wheels that are closing because of the model that actually you were right when you were like in Canada. Most of the Meals on Wheels have a similar model to here. That's right, which means a lot of people, the volunteers are aging, and when we don't have the volunteers to be able to supply the services, sometimes Meals on Wheels close. What is that telling us? It tells us that maybe we should deliver more. So it's about scaling up. And we like at Santropol Roulant, I think we're great at scaling deep in everything we do. And scaling up is something we need to learn how to do, maybe. One thing that is important to me is like how much trust we have in the younger generations and how we see the younger generations as the solution of the future. And by that I mean like making healthy food decisions around like what kind of food they buy, what kind of food they grow, how they engage with their food systems, how they take care of their communities. And more we're working with schools and kids. So we do, for example, one of our garden is called the Pizza Garden, where we gather with kids in schools at the beginning of the year, and we draft together a pizza menu, and they decide like what they want if they want peppers, tomatoes, like I don't know, zucchini, eggplants on their pizza, and they design the whole thing, and then they design together the garden, and then they see the food growing, and then we cook the veggies together, we bake the pizza together, and we eat the pizza together. So we go through the foods, and like maybe we're going to recycle, or we can compost some of the food wastes. So we do the full loop. This is extremely draining on resources, like this stuff. But like social change won't happen without the kids, and then the kids they change the habits, the food habits of their parents. So that also, to be fully transparent, we do that a little bit because I think the government, at least in Canada, has understood that if we want to change the food system, it goes through kids. So they do work a lot with schools around things like that. So it comes also with money. So we have that vision. The government has that vision, and there's a potential money bridge between the two. So let's do that. And I think the last thing we try to do is a little bit of sharing the model that we do, because that's a model we believe in very much, and that's probably why I'm actually here. I'm actually here this week. Yeah, and I think that's it for now.